There's a mom and dad out there who'll never get their boy back. Um,
There's a lot of them out there.
there's a lot of people who loved and cared for Ed who will never get their friend and their family back. And you're right, there's a lot of other people out there who need maybe to hear this episode. Just say that, man. Spend as much time you can with the people that you love and care about. You never know when they're going to be gone. Welcome to another episode of Love People Enough. I'm Micah.
And I'm Rob. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Going back and forth a little bit about this, but we're going to talk about my friend Ed today. Ed passed away this year.
Oh, no.
I met Ed about a year back. I had gone to this veterans mental wellness retreat. It was about a month long. You just kind of get away from the world and talk about some of the things that you're struggling with. They give you a lot of, exercises to do, and it just gets you a good, healthy mindset.
Attempt to.
They attempt to, exactly, and I, when I met Ed, this was a really interesting environment. Our group was about 25-ish people, between 22 and 25-ish people, pretty good size at this place. And, we had classes every day, and, the classes would talk about all sorts of different things regarding mental health and physical health, things like relationship, finances, self-respect, self-understanding, right? All these different things.
All the moving cogs in adulthood
All
nowadays.
Man, you nailed it. Exactly. Everyone's a veteran. And the women who ran these, not all of them were women, but several of them were, they were not military. And what it meant was that they didn't have a chance at controlling the room, nor did they try. We had some intense, it was very clear that cliques existed.
That's a shame.
Once I got here. Yeah, exactly. My roommate when I got there, this guy, Dave, he's some special forces guy. He was the number one. In the realm of dominance hierarchies, he was the top of the dominance hierarchy of the 25-ish people. And he was super cocky. I don't know. He's probably never going to watch this episode.
Huge ego.
I was not a fan. That's what I can tell you. I was not a fan whatsoever.
I try to steer clear of people like that because they'll...
Well, yeah, but it was a clique. So if you can imagine this group of 25 people, he's sitting in the middle-ish of the it's like a horseshoe kind of. And so he's kind of in the center of the horseshoe with his multiple guys around him, his crew. And he would make fun of people here and there. For whatever reason, there was a fair amount of just ragging on each other. And the instructors wouldn't get involved. They would literally just, when they saw someone being made fun of, they would just look down. And if they ever caught my eye, they would look down immediately. It was a very clear, we are not going to get involved here for whatever reason. And I
feel
just
like
think
if they
that they didn't have the chance.
As they were as you're like trying to,
as I'm looking around, like, is someone going to get involved here? We're going to just sit here and watch
shameful. They're probably shameful.
100% shameful.
Yeah,
absolutely. Watching it go down.
But still did nothing about it, huh?
Yeah, did nothing about it. I sent multiple complaints in. I even spoke to the guy who ran the place. He was as corporate as you come. He made it crystal clear. He was an ex-military, and he's not a man of honor. I just tell you that very quickly. So this is all really relevant in the fact that Ed got picked on. Ed got picked on a lot, Rob. Ed got picked on almost every single day at this retreat. And I'm talking about multiple times a day.
And these are all adults.
Everybody's an adult. Everybody's ex-military.
Yeah.
Some first responders, but everybody came from that that special group of people, if you will. And so within a couple days, just the man that I am at heart, I wasn't going to allow this stuff to continue anymore. And so I started working on things in the background. All right, that's what I do. I've always been very good at that.
You got to build the foundation.
And so I started building foundations, exactly. And so I started talking to some people here and there and making my own friend little groups. I took my roommate aside, the number one who had a habit of making fun of Ed, and him and I had to talk. And I let him know. I said, hey, man, something to the effect of, hey, man, I'm not trying to give you a hard time or anything. I notice Ed has been struggling a fair amount with some of the jokes that have been coming his way. I don't know if there's any chance that you could tone it down a bit. I just know it's starting to have a big effect on him, and you probably don't mean anything by it, but it's just something I'm noticing, and I was hoping, out of respect for me, you'd give that some thought. Something along those lines, right? And to his credit, he handled it really well. I was very impressed with the way he handled it. He handled it like a man. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I was impressed by the way he handled it. He handled it in an honorable way. And and then it was like, once I got him taken care of, then it was like, this was a place where people came in and out. And essentially, like, the next group of people came in, and it was a whole new crew again. It was a whole new crew of, like, special forces guys, which were like their own little clique.
Special in special forces, huh?
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on, but they're like the cruelest people to Ed constantly. And so I had to battle people publicly, privately. Every single day at this retreat became battle for me. All day long, I was either fighting or consumed with the thought of fighting. Battling these people verbally, which I am very capable of doing, but it's not what I wanted to be doing with my time. Here I am trying to heal from my own struggles in life. Ed and I spent a lot of time one-on-one at night talking through some of the things that he struggled with. And I took him under my wing best that I could. And I taught him, I said, okay, this is what happened today. Here's how you reacted. Here's how I want you to consider acting next time. And so we literally would go through situations and practice. Okay. Rehearse. Exactly. So I'd make some cutting joke on his behalf. Against him. And then he'd have to bounce back and have his own cutting joke, if you will. Right. I was teaching him how to fight. Right. I was teaching him how to have teeth, and then teaching him even just the proper expressions on your face, all the different things that you had to keep in mind in order to slowly change as a person, to grow outside your comfort zone, to stop being the target of a joke and to become, strong and dangerous in your own right. And we had some tough times. I had it out once with one guy, like I lost it in front of everybody, just yelling, him and I yelling back and forth. Not a great moment on my part. Handled it poorly, but I'm proud I stood up. It's one of those kind of things, What I'll tell you, Rob, is near the end of this getaway, I saw incredible changes in Ed. I saw the greatest potential of any person in that place. It was not me. It was not any of the special forces guys. It was Ed. Ed, whose only ambition in life at the time was to become a master diver. It was Ed.
Like deep sea diving.
It came to a point where when Ed would speak, there were times where true greatness came from his mouth. Like I would get almost goosebumps hearing him speak. This was a young man who, the reason why he was picked on so much was because he was very goofy, very outgoing. What it really was, if you were paying attention, this was a kid who was starved for attention, who was starved for companionship, friendship, and was so desperate for good, healthy relationships with people that he sometimes put his foot in his mouth. But if you understood who he was and what he was trying to do, for someone like me, I could forgive him that stuff all day long. This is a good kid with a good heart that didn't know what the heck he was doing because no one showed him the right way. You could see that very quickly. And so he made a target for himself, but just because he was a outgoing, genuine kid, that was really it. And they hated him for it, And I fought for that kid again and again and again and again. And you know what? Near the end, I'll tell you in the end, he left a few days before me. And when you leave, you stand up and you make a speech. He dedicated that speech to me. He said I had made such an incredible difference in his life. I never expected that, Rob. I didn't expect that for 1 second. And it felt so good to have made such a difference in someone's life. So Ed and I have kept in touch. We've spoken several times. Supposed to come visit. His father called me a couple months back. Ed had a problem with crystal meth.
Oof.
It's one of those really dangerous ones like heroin,
Yeah.
fentanyl, where you could get high and you could be dead in a matter of minutes, just like that. I guess he had just completed a program for addiction. And it was my understanding that I guess he wanted to celebrate or something along those lines. And that's all it took,
It's sad.
Yeah, and all I can think of was I just wish I'd invited him over sooner, The reality is the world lost an incredible man. People don't know. Almost the people who were in that place don't know. But I knew, Rob. I knew. And I know what a loss this was for the world. This was a man who was going to make a difference in his life. I could feel it in him. I could see it in him.
Failed him is what happened. His communities failed.
I don't know if the world failed him. I think in the end, he failed himself. And it's hard to put it that way, right? We all fail ourselves when we do things along those lines, even if it's just once or many times. And sometimes it costs us everything, And there's a mom and dad out there who'll never get their boy back.
There's a lot of them out there.
There's a lot of people, a lot of people who loved and cared for Ed who will never get their friend and their family back. And you're right, there's a lot of other people out there who need maybe to hear this episode to say that, man, spend as much time you can with the people that you love and care about. You never know when they're going to be gone.
Truly care about them. Truly
yeah,
care about
and the
them.
next time you see someone putting his foot in his mouth because he doesn't know what he's doing, pull him under your wing. Look out for him. Make a difference in that person's life.
Do you think what you taught him carried on to, the next retreat and the next, however many he may have made it
He
to
only went
since
to
that
one.
point?
He went to an addiction program after that, and
that's what he was celebrating.
That's my understanding, and it's my sincere apology if I don't have that quite correct, but I believe that's what went down.
When
yeah,
I
it's
said
tough.
that,
I come from an island of a lot of people who have addiction. It's 7 by 3 Mile Island, right? It's something I've struggled with in my past. I know a lot of friends who still struggle from alcohol and drug use. Some of them have lost their lives. Some of them have jumped off bridges, killing themselves.
Block Island, correct? You said
Block Island, yeah. It never gets easier, But what I will say again, I'll just say it one more time before we wrap this up. This was a true loss to the world. Ed had the potential to be a great man. I think he was a great kid. He was a great kid. And I miss you, Ed. I love you and I miss you, brother. And I think that's it for today.
Okay.
Love people enough, and I'm Micah, and I thank you for your time.
I'm Rob. Thank you for joining us.
Hey everyone, this is Micah.
And I'm Rob.
From Love People Enough. Please consider signing up for our Patreon so we can continue to bring you hard-hitting episodes and grow our channel to reach the widest audience possible. Link below in the description.